All right, guys, this is going to be a crash course in social media marketing. And it's a really important conversation to have because it's something that a lot of us, even us marketers, like forget. So I'm going to basically tell you everything I've learned in 10 years in about 10 minutes. If you don't know, my background is in communications and marketing. So actually at Virginia Tech, shout out to the Hokies. Too bad we're horrible at football this season. It's not fun. But I attended 2000 to 2004, elder millennial up in here, and studied marketing, studied communications, took journalism classes, was very active in the TV production studio there. And I started TV production classes in high school. My dream was to be not a journalist, not a reporter. I wanted to be behind the scenes. I wanted to sit in the control room, which I eventually got to do at CNN, which was so cool when I worked at CNN after college in Atlanta. So my background is really what you would say, just like traditional marketing, traditional media. It's very textbook, if you will. Now, even though with Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, everything I teach is traditional marketing in a sense, right? But what I think a lot of people don't understand, when you have a marketing team at a corporation or whatever, right? Big company, there's the marketing people that do like campaigns and websites and sales pages and stuff. That's not social media marketing. It is totally different. And that's why you see all those funny TikToks of being like, what kind of marketer are you? Are you like the data person who's like sitting behind they're all serious. And then it's like, there goes the social media team and they're wearing like silly outfits and walking around with their cameras. It's very different, right? But they also obviously overlap, right? There's still timeless marketing strategies in social media. But let's talk about that. So I think what happens is when you first start your business, oftentimes, or even if you've been in business a long time before social media existed, it was sales copy. It was sell, right? Always be closing, right? Every marketing material you put out was to sell, was to generate leads, right? It wasn't to build a community. When you're sending a postcard, getting a billboard, that's not building a community. That's not building a sense of belonging. It's just selling. It's saying, this is what we got. This is who it's for. This is the benefit. This is the features, Features, benefits, features, benefits, features, benefits. Then came social media. If you think about it, think of a company like Nike. They've been doing this forever, right? They've been doing this storytelling. So it's almost like all these brilliant pieces of marketing now go together in social media marketing. Of course, we need copy that sells, but we also need that sense of belonging. And that's what so much marketing out there didn't do before social media, right? Or a lot of people try, but it couldn't quite translate as quickly as social media allows this to translate, is this sense of belonging and this sense of human connection. And that's what happened, like I said, I've mentioned a lot, but especially during the pandemic, a lot of people were like, oh, going viral and saying they've got the key to how to grow on Instagram. They cracked the code. And a lot of them were saying traditional marketing tips, which obviously are important to know. But social media is not a sales page. It's just not. A caption can read like a sales page, but the reel, the carousel, etc., needs to build connection and resonate. So again, social media, we're not really, if we look at a billboard, we look at like I said, something in the newspaper, or we're watching a commercial. Now, commercials oftentimes do help us feel something, right? That sense of relief, joy, funny, whatever it is. But social media, we really are like, we're picking up our phones to feel something. We're either want to escape, whatever it is, right? We're looking to be entertained. So when you remember that people are on social media to feel rather than to be sold to, this will fix everything with your content, literally. And every time, and I haven't posted yet today because I'm trying to think like, how are my people feeling today? Today, it's a Friday, about to go into the weekend. The world is just, it's heavy. Everyone's feeling heavy right now. So I'm like, do people want tips and tricks today? Or do they want to laugh? Or what do they want today, right? Like I think about this stuff before I post every day. That's why I don't plan too far ahead. I have all my ideas dumped in a Google Sheet. I typically know the theme, something I want to talk about, but it's mainly like and that's why this is heavy on my heart today. Cause I'm like, most of you listening, I think about 80% of you aren't full-time content creators. So you're trying to grow a business, you're trying to post on social, you're watching the news, you're trying to raise a family or take care of the people around you, whether you're a mom or whatever, right? Maybe you're going through something tragic in your own life yourself, right? And it's like, this should not be the daunting part. Social media should not be the daunting part. Now, if you had me sit here and go, Shannon, tap into your old marketing classes and write me a sales page. I'm not a sales copywriter. I know how to do it. It's not my specialty. And that's why I think, and this is a side note, like so many people underestimate what social media marketers do and managers do, which by the way, if you're a social media manager, call yourself something different because that just sounds so admin to people these days. I'm like, what social media managers do is far beyond just posting content and replying to comments, right? We're studying what's working. A lot of marketing is like a gut instinct. We're constantly scrolling for inspo. We're constantly testing, constantly trying, constantly tweaking. It's a lot of freaking work. And if you're a business owner, you know that. So why don't we start realizing what social media really is and have some fun? And same for the social media managers out there. This is something that you send to your boss who won't trust you with the content you're producing or suggesting, because it's not your typical traditional marketing. It is about feeling. It is about belonging. It is about people's identities. And when you create content that makes people go, that is so me, I belong here, I align with this person, that is where they start following, but they also think about you a lot. So this is your sign, right? Start telling more stories, work more storytelling into your content. That's why you're listening to this podcast, because we talk a lot about that. Show up as a human. I get on stories. I don't care if you're a corporation with 100 people. Show the humans in the company. This is why so many businesses are going crazy, whether it's a brick and mortar, a product, service, a service-based business. They're showing the people, the employees, the staff, or if you're a person like me, it's just you, that's it. I'm on stories at least saying hello and talking about my day, or I'm not just selling all the time, because that's not why we're on social media. Of course, we like to buy from TikTok Shop, but most of us aren't selling things that are like a $20 sweater, right? We're selling bigger ticket items. Or if you're a realtor and you sell a home, you got to keep that connection going for years, because they're probably not going to buy for a couple of years, right? A lot of our sales processes or the funnel of someone is a lot longer. So that's why social media is so important. You build this connection, you keep them coming back for more, and you now have a relationship. So again, you're not just creating content when you're posting on social media. You are creating connection. And the more you start treating Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, TikTok this way, you will grow faster. And I just wrapped this episode up, but that is basically the crash course. That is it. All these marketing things that you've learned, or maybe you did take a marketing class back in the day. I know the features of your product or service are great. I know the features of your, I want to feel connected to you, the creator, the creator of your business, and the creator on social. And it's funny, someone in my mastermind that I have with my business partner, Emily, and dear friend, they're like, well, what can we sell? I'm in launch mode. I'm like, your content needs to look like connection. And then in the caption, hit him with more of the sales copy. That reel, make it be like, this is the vibe over here, or share a tip, or share something funny, tell a story. And then in the caption, also stories. I sell in stories all the time. I've got other podcast episodes about that. And just to drive it home, what I'm always talking about, one of the quickest ways to build connection with people is we connect with humans and we connect with stories, right? So here's a perfect example. This is a travel creator. I think it's a husband-wife team. Yes, it says 8 apps we never travel without after 7 continents and 94 countries. And then it says, we're surprised how many people don't know about these. This is a carousel. You guys, 27,000 likes and comments. And almost every single one of those comments is to opt into what they're selling, which is a free guide, I'm sure. It'll be in the show notes. Why does that connect? Because we trust them. It's authority on top of personalization. We're not just saying, hey, here's some apps to travel with. This builds connection while building authority. And it doesn't feel like a sales page. They're saying, hey, you want a little peek into our life as travel people? Here it is. And then they go, hey, in the caption, you want more? And then they sell. That's what I mean. Connection over sales. Yes, sell, but lead with the connection. And again, who are the people that are going to feel like they belong in that account? People who want to travel and go to different continents, right? So they immediately I belong here. Here's another one. This girl's just did the trend of life with ... And it says life with ... plants. And then it shows the difference of her life without plants and then with. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. Right? So many people did this trend, and guess what it led to? Conversations. Oh my gosh, same. It's the vibe. They feel like they belong. If they're into plants, right away, they're going to see that reel and feel something. So as you can see, it can be humorous content. It can be heard, empathetic content. It can be educational content. You make them feel connected to you and your account, and that they see themselves in your content, their entire identity. And here I'll end with this one. This is that's another travel. So let's do something other than travel. All right. This is a great one. And this is an etiquette coach. I actually follow her. So no matter what coaching space you're in or therapy, whatever, this is a great one. Just the way she structures it. It's her waiting in line to get on the airplane. It says, I may know the difference between, again, led with the word I may know the difference between a strawberry fork and an oyster fork, how to eat peas continental style, and what to do if I ever meet royalty. Now, most of us can't relate to that. Ready? But watch what she does so beautifully. Because she's basically saying, look, I know all this stuff, but like, you're all welcome here. Ready? Wait for it. Here we go. And it says, but the etiquette I use most often, waiting in line with patience, making thoughtful introductions, listening well, speaking clearly with confidence, and showing up for my friends. Okay? And then it says, etiquette isn't simply for fancy occasions. It matters just as much or more in the everyday moments. The caption says, everyday grace is greater than rules for once in a lifetime. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you'll follow along for more modern etiquette tips for relationships, work, and life. This is again, like brilliant. That is what I like to call herd content, right? It makes them feel seen. It just gives you a glimpse into her core values, who she is, what she does. It gives you a sense of belonging. Like if you want to learn how to maybe have more grace in everyday life, not just at a royal table, get in here. All right, that is it for this week. I love you, friend. Next time you post content, just ask if this gives some sort of sense of belonging, a reassurance, whatever that is. And obviously binge other episodes because I talk about this a little more niche in other episodes, but I hope that makes sense as far as the difference between traditional marketing and social media marketing. Mwah.